Joining me now, Natasha Sarin, president of the Yale Budget Lab, professor of law and finance at the Yale Law School. Natasha, nice to have you. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
I mean, these jobs numbers are not good when you, not just for the last 2 months, but when you look at the graph over the course, we could put this up on the screen, over the course of the last year and going back a number of months. Do you agree with the assessment that this is America in a hiring recession?
I think what you're starting to see in the labor market, and you've seen for the last many months, is we are in this sort of no hire, no fire type of market where unemployment is ticked up. It's up to the highest point that it's been, as you were pointing out, over the course of the last 4 years. You're also in a situation where essentially outside of healthcare and education, there has not been job growth over the course of the last many months. And in some sense, it's actually not that surprising. Work that my colleagues and I have done at the Budget Lab at Yale that's been tracking a bunch of the administration's economic policies, including these tariffs, points out that tariff levels at the highest rate that you've seen in the last century lead to a smaller economy and cost hundreds of thousands of jobs. And I think that's what you're starting to see, along with the host of actions relating to DOGE and the federal government firings, which are showing up in the October data as well.
Yeah, and we've heard from a lot of business owners, both small and big, that tariff uncertainty has led them to push off decisions because they're not quite sure where they'll stand in a few weeks or a few months' time. I noticed the Wall Street Journal recently published a story saying that even these anemic job numbers might overstate job growth and that the nation might actually be losing jobs consistently month to month. Do you see any evidence of that?
Yeah, and you saw Chair Powell's gesture at that as well last week. The sort of concern is that we've had delayed government data because of the shutdown and real concerns about being able to have access in real time to this picture of what we're seeing in the labor market. Another concern that we've known over the course of the last many years is that government data tends to have a harder time capturing business openings and closures. And so if you're not being able to capture the fact that small businesses might be closing as a result of these types of tariff pressures, then you're going to overstate employment such that you're painting a rosier picture that is then ultimately revised downward over the course of the next many months when we get better data. Yeah. So I think that actually is a real concern. And I think this uncertainty you're pointing out is a real concern as well. The effective tariff rate has changed more than 60 times since President Trump took office in January. And that's just an impossible situation for businesses to plan for the American consumer to plan for as they think about, what Christmas presents they can buy their kids this year.
No question. Question for you, again, I'm not the economist, you know this better than me. Inflation's stubborn, yet the Fed has been lowering interest rates, and typically, I remember from my econ classes that if you loosen money in the midst of an inflationary environment, that might actually make inflation worse. And I wonder, are you seeing that in your data?
The Fed has this really difficult task, and frankly has had a really difficult task over the course of the last many years because, as you know, as a result of the pandemic and the post-pandemic period, we saw a really substantial uptick in inflation for the first time in decades in this country. And the Fed has been kind of trying to pull inflation back to its 2% inflation target for months and months, even before President Trump took office. And they were making real progress on working that way. But then what happened is you saw the president come into office and ignite the most inflationary policies in our lifetimes with these tariffs. So as they were starting to make progress towards the last mile, they then got a massive boost in inflation. And they're also having this cooling labor market where it's hard to find jobs and you're starting to see stilted labor growth. Yeah. And those things push in opposite directions. And that's why you've seen so much division at the Fed. Should they be cutting interest rates? Should they be lowering interest rates? Should they be holding steady? It's a little bit hard to tell from their perspective based on all the indicators they're watching.
Yeah, and then that dreaded word stagflation you keep hearing about as well, at least the prospect. Natasha Sarin, Yale Budget Lab, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.